of hunger that inflicts him or her. ولأن أمشي مع أخي المسلم في حاجة أحب إلي من أعتكف في هذا المسجد شهرا. The Prophet says that, and would it be that I walk in the need of my Muslim brother or sister is more beloved to me from spending a month of i'tikaf in this mosque, and this is the Prophet's mosque. Again, if you just evaluate, you're spending a month in the Prophet's mosque, that taking the need of a believer and addressing and trying to address their need is more beloved than spending a month in i'tikaf. And then he says, وَمَنْ كَفَّ غَضَبَهُ سَطَرَ اللَّهُ عَوْرَتَهُ. And whoever holds back their anger, Allah will conceal their faults, or have a shield or a veil over their faults. وَمَنْ قَضَمَ غَيْظَهُ. And whoever holds on or have control over his rancor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make him, will actually cause him to also be beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So again, this is the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam giving us some level of instruction relative to our conduct. What I wanted to say specifically is أحب الناس إلى الله أنفعهم للناس. That the best of people is those who have the most benefit to people. والله في عون العبد ما كان العبد في عون أخيه. And Allah is in the aid of a servant of his as long as that servant is extending the bonds of help to his brother or sister. So if you want to have the help of Allah, help your brother and sister, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will aid you. So again, وَاللَّهُ فِي عَوْنِ الْعَبْدِ. Allah is in the assistance of the abd. مَا كَانَ الْعَبْدُ فِي عَوْنِ أَخِيهِ. Which also could be understood that if you are extending a help to your brother or sister, Allah is actually with you extending that help. Alright? So in that sense, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَدُ اللَّهِ فَوْقَ أَيْدِيهِمْ, that the hand of Allah is above their head or with their hands, is also to understand يَدُ اللَّهِ مَعَ الْجَمَاعَةِ, that the hand of Allah is with the group. So again, in here is given us the indication of that Allah help is with us as long as we're helping others. So what I'm trying to relate to us in here, that the Prophet ﷺ is giving us the instruction to be helpers to one another. And help to one another actually is a source of creating love for each other in a community where you don't have bonds of lineage in terms of blood lineage. And that's the beauty, is that the brotherhood and sisterhood of faith and action can actually be higher and bring higher magnitude than the bonds that possibly you have with your brother, sister from your mother and father or your relative. And this is again the Prophet ﷺ instructing us to do this. Now the Prophet in another hadith says, أَتَدْرُونَ مَا الْمُفْلِسِ. Do you know who is the one that is bankrupt? Do you know the one who is bankrupt? Now, people understood the person who's bankrupt is a person مَنْ لَا دِرْهَمَ لَهُ وَلَا دِينَارٍ. Person who doesn't have a dinar, doesn't have a dollar today, and doesn't have a euro or a pound, right? That's the understanding of the person who's bankrupt, or the person that does not own wealth. لا يملك مالا. فقالوا المفلس فينا من لا درهم له. That the community, when the Prophet posed that question, they responded, the person who doesn't have any money is the actual person that's bankrupt. Doesn't have wealth, doesn't have any provision. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِنَّ الْمُفْلِسَ مَنْ يَأْتِي يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. That the bankrupt one is the one that comes in the day of judgment, بِصَلَاةٍ وَصِيَامٍ وَزَكَاةٍ. The person who comes with prayers, with fasting, and with zakat, but he comes, وَيَأْتِي وَقَدْ شَتَمَ هَذَا, that he comes into a judgment day, he insulted this person, وَقَذَفَ هَذَا, he actually spoke of the honor of this person, وَأَكَلَ مَالَ هَذَا, he devoured the wealth of this person, وَسَفَكَ دَمَ هَذَا, that he have transgressed by killing or causing the death of someone else, وَضَرَبَ هَذَا, and he struck this person, فَيُعْطَى هَذَا مِنْ حَسَنَاتِهِ, then this person whom he transgressed upon, he actually takes from his good deeds and give it to that person. Then his good deeds goes to that person. Good deeds goes to that person. And if all his good deeds are gone, then he takes from their bad deeds and load up into him. Talk about what you call transaction, right? So again, what is important in here is not much prayer, a lot of prayers, a lot of fasting, a lot of zakat that can actually get you into judgment day with Allah. It is actually good conduct and engaging people with adab and courtesy and making sure that your prayers and acts of worship are measured by your conduct. All right, that's why the Prophet ﷺ, when they asked him what is Islam, all right, he defined it. He says al-mu'amala, that all of Islam and all of Iman is actually could be defined in the way we conduct ourselves with each other. All right, meaning all of our faith, all of our acts are actually measured by our actions. We tend to focus on the performative prayers, but not on the conduct that is associated with our own relationships outside of prayers and outside of these performances. So again, it's not the much prayers, much fasting that gets us into being in a state of soundness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then another statement said that religion is about being upright and being scrupulous in your conduct and holding your tongue. Holding your tongue. That's why, again, the tongue is imprisoned between two sets of bars, your lips and your teeth. And the teeth, you know, they're far more powerful than steel. So it's interesting that even that which actually can drag you to hellfire by the statement of the Prophet ﷺ, he says, hold on to your tongue, keep it guard, because it actually can take people to ruin. And we could see in our current national culture in terms of what people are saying, like it's almost insanity, let alone being taken into judgment relative to this. The meaning in here is that, again, we tend as Muslims to focus on acts of worship as a measure of the person's quality, which is important. But actually, if we look at how people used to measure people, the Prophet ﷺ, when they asked about him when he was sent, what was his defining characteristic? Al-Amin, the trustworthy one. Right? So everybody in Mecca, even those who were worshipping idols, understood they were actually engaging in prayer. Wrong prayer, but actually he was the best among them in his trustworthiness. We know that he did not injure anyone with his language. We knew that Quraysh, which was actually fighting him, used to bring their stuff to trust him with their stuff, even as they fought him. That's why when he went to migrate, he instructed Ali to deliver the amanat, those things that were entrusted to him, to actually give it to people that they entrusted, even as he was opposing them and they were opposing him. They never actually said that he is of bad character. And even when Hercules in Syrian Peninsula or in Palestine was asking Abu Sufyan about the character of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Sufyan actually said he is the best of character. Again, Abu Sufyan was not a believer at that time, and Hercules was not a believer. Both actually testified who the Prophet ﷺ. Right? This is again the quality that we need to think in relations to how we think of Islam. We have transformed Islam into performances rather than conduct. Right? Performances rather than conduct. And then we often are so happy to say somebody embrace Islam, and then we leave them right in the back of the bus and just move on, as if it is only a matter of just adding numbers. And again, we often say there's 1.4 billion Muslims, 1.5 billion Muslims. That's what you call takbir. Takbir for what? Right? What is the quality? Where is the impact that we are seeing in relations to the Muslims? Now, I wanted to connect this in terms of the best of few is the best to creation, but also is to remove the harm or calamity of a Muslim is part of those who are beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I want to connect it specifically to what is taking place today in Kashmir. Because it seems that many of us are just almost either unaware or willfully ignorant or willfully absent-minded about the situation in Kashmir. And again, what we need is to understand that one is that you have a responsibility as a human being. Right? You have what you call relationship of Adamic relationship. So you have Adamic relationship, which is again the category of human rights. That's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that one, we're not asking you now to actually bring joy to the people of Kashmir. We want you to remove harm. Joy is a different level. All right? So what is our responsibility? What do we need to do? How to understand it? All right? And I know some of us, because we've been in so many calamities, like, I heard about, I know you always speak about Palestine, we speak about Syria, we have Iraq, we have Somalia, we have possibly Egypt, we have Libya, we have been in Bosnia, then we need to speak about Afghanistan, and then Iraq, and the war in Yemen. Like, come on, we're tired. Yeah, well, from one side, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, إِذَا حَبَّ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا ابْتَلَاهُ, that if Allah loves a servant of His, He sent tribulation upon them. Now, we're not saying that this is what Allah, I don't know what Allah's purpose in there, but again, it is not a sign for us to actually, what you call, say, well, we need just to forget it, it's just too tiring. Maybe, from one perspective, shaitan is just busy 24 hours, and he knows that there are some people in there that he needs to be busy with. Right? Inna shaitan aduwan fattakhidhuhu aduwa. That Allah says shaitan is adu for you, then take him for an enemy. So there is that dimension of it. But the second, we've been in a long history of constant upheaval in the Muslim world for purposes, for reasons. This is a massive area in part of the Muslim world, massive resources, massive movement of trade that has taken place and continue to take place. So there is a reason where the Prophet ﷺ said that the end of time, that the akala will gather upon you as if they're gathering on a small plate of food, devouring it. Right? تَتَدَاعَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأُمَمِ. He used the verb تَتَدَاعَ, which is to invite each other. And if not today that we're inviting each other, India is inviting itself, China is inviting itself, Western world is inviting itself, even some of the Arab Muslims themselves are inviting themselves in each other. Right? تَتَدَاعَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْأُمَمِ. That the nations gather and invite each other. Say, do you want to get a country? Yes. Which country you want? Well, let's see. I'll take Kuwait because it's our gas station. How about you? What do you want? Oh, I want Kashmir. It's really good mountains. We might get some, skiing results. How about you? I think Iraq is good because they have oil. They have 2 rivers we could get. How about you? Well, I'll take Chechnya because it's really nice and they have a long history. How about you? I'll take Libya. Right? Again, it's dividing the countries as if what you call sitting and making an agreement. And in the mix of all of this, we're almost absent-minded about what is our responsibility. At the least of it, detest it in your heart. That's the least. من رأى منكم منكرا فليغيره بيده فإن لم يستطع فبلسانه فإن لم يستطع فبقلبه وذلك أضعف الإيمان. Whoever sees something wrong, let him stop it with his hand. If he can't, then let him speak. And if he can't, let him detest it in heart, and that is the weakest of faith. So at least if you are unable to do that, just at least detest it in your heart on a daily basis. Just do a dua for your brothers and sisters in Kashmir today. It's almost 900,000 Indian troops are there stationed. Again, I'm a Palestinian. I know Palestine has been occupied. We never had 900,000 troops, Israeli troops, stationed in Palestine in terms of the West Bank, the Gaza Strip. I could mention it by day, how many troops, where they're located. The Indian government right now have 900,000 troops. Just 2 weeks ago in the Assam region, they removed 1.5 million out of the rosters of voters. They're no longer citizens. Overnight, you went to sleep a citizen, the next night you're not a citizen. I even hear, again, in America, we feel like Islamophobia is cheaper than the White House. We still did not go to sleep today and got up the next day and we're not citizens. Right? And you still can appeal to court. You still can get some people actually to come. You can't. There is nothing that you can do right now because the Supreme Court has been appointed by Modi and his entourage, right? Operating with what's called distorted Hindutva, that India is a Hindu nation, just developing this whole ideology in the late 19th century and taking shape in the most recent period. So as a Muslim, you're no longer actually recognized as a citizen. You are almost citizen on probation and you are removed from citizenship. Then you have the other part. What is the impact of removing the special status of Kashmir in Article 370 and 35A? You actually can allow the massive movement of population to take properties in Kashmir so you could actually engage in demographic design. This is exactly what is taking place in Palestine and the West Bank today. Israeli settlers coming in, taking their property, saying God promised us, in the same way the Hindutva coming in and saying this is our territory, and wherever you see what you call Zaffaran color, and you put Zaffaranization of the whole territory, and now you actually claim that territory your own. Exactly the same. And so that's what we need for us to be aware, and again, it's part of us making sure that we remove the curb, because this is a major curb, a major calamity that is befalling our brothers and sisters in Kashmir. So the human rights, as Bani Adam, you have a responsibility, then you have a responsibility as a believer of what you can actually do to address this need that is arising in there. And again, the best of you is the best to creation, and our Kashmiri brothers and sisters are creation of Allah, that we have a responsibility to actually respond. Just like we have the responsibility to the Uyghurs in China, and just that you have responsibility for Palestine and other places. Right? At the end of the day, your accounting with Allah is about what your response was. Yes, you prayed, but what was your response? And in here, alhamdulillah, we would say that we're at ease, so we have certain things that we need to do. So I want for you to inform others, to educate yourself about the situation and inform others. I want you to actually speak to people who have some political responsibility in the society. Right? There's nothing wrong of actually appealing your case and informing and asking people to take action. The third one, which we have been talking to people, is that we need to put pressure on the Indian government by actually beginning to target or to actually boycott certain products that are in our mix. So if you're right now a Muslim and you, again, I know that they have not yet called for a specific boycott, but if you see made in India versus made somewhere else, don't buy Indian products. Because it's an insult for you to support a government right now and a society that is engaging in massive human rights violation, removing millions of people from voting, from citizenship. And this is by a prime minister that already committed genocide in Gujarat. So for 10 years, he was not allowed to enter the United States. So just to know that whom we're talking about. We're not talking about Mother Teresa or the descendant of Gandhi. Just this past 2 weeks ago, they celebrated the 100th-year anniversary of Gandhi. Narendra Modi celebrating the birthday of Gandhi is like an insult, like Hitler coming and celebrating the birthday of Jesus, right? And making it that this is what you call the highlight of his, what you call perspective. This is basically what it is. The person who engaged in the shooting in New Zealand actually wrote how he was inspired and so much enthralled about what is taking place in India with the RRS and the Hindutva group. Anders Breivik in Norway, same thing. He was actually praising what the Hindu nationalists, Modi and the others, have actually been undertaking. So now you're talking about inspiration, and then the Hindu are being inspired and actually praising Hitler and the Nazis. So you're dealing with a completely distorted type of ideology that we need to understand it in order to actually respond appropriately. So if you have a choice where you purchase and what you spend, don't spend your money right now on any Indian-made products. All right? That's like at least, just be sure that you don't do that. That's the least that you can do as a Muslim at this point. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعين به ونستغفره ونتوب إليه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله ولو كره المشركون. So the Prophet ﷺ said, من نفس عن مؤمن كربة من كرب الدنيا نفس الله عنه كربة من كرب يوم القيامة. The Prophet ﷺ said, whatever soul have removed a calamity or a difficulty from a person in this world, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove this calamity or this difficulty for him in the judgment day. So if you want to be, I know many of us come to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, will come to Allah in judgment day with so many things on our plate. Right? But all human beings commit wrong action. And the best of you, the best they ask for istighfar. So if you want to actually have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the difficulty for you in judgment day from all your wrong action, make sure that you're engaged in alleviating the hardship of people that are facing. And I would consider the people in Kashmir right now facing one of the major difficulties that we need to alleviate. Either you speak about it, you detest it, or if you are able to do an action in relation to alleviating. And this action, again, I'm not asking you to go and hit people. I'm asking you to do action that is contingent to what is there, to speak to your political leadership, to engage in boycott, to pass information. If there is any type of participation in fundraising taking place for Kashmir, to actually hasten to do this with the understanding that you ask Allah to alleviate for you a hardship in Judgment Day. That's our responsibility, and this is what I'm asking you to do, inshallah. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إني داع فأمنوا اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت وقنا واصرف عنا بالخير شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي بالخير ولا يقضى عليك وإنه لا يذل من وليت تباركت ربنا وتعاليت ربنا ردنا إلى الإسلام ردا جميلا ربنا ردنا إلى الإسلام ردا جميلا ربنا ردنا إلى الإسلام ردا جميلا اللهم يا مقلب القلوب ثبت قلوبنا على طاعتك اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه يا رب العالمين اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين اللهم خفف عن إخواننا المسلمين في كشمير يا رب العالمين اللهم خفف عن إخواننا المسلمين في كشمير يا رب العالمين اللهم خفف عن إخواننا المسلمين في كشمير يا رب العالمين اللهم أمنهم في بيوتهم اللهم أمنهم في بيوتهم اللهم أمنهم في بيوتهم يا رب العالمين اللهم خفف عن المسلمين جميعا في كل مكان يا رب العالمين. اللهم خفف عن المسلمين جميعا يا رب العالمين. اللهم خفف عن المسلمين جميعا في كل البلاد يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارحم المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارحم المسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات يا رب العالمين. اللهم اشفي مرضى المسلمين جميعا. اللهم اشفي مرضى المسلمين جميعا. اللهم اشفي مرضى المسلمين جميعا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارحم والدينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارحم والدينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم ارحم والدينا يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا مغلوبون فانصرنا. اللهم إنا مغلوبون فانصرنا. اللهم إنا مغلوبون فانصرنا. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. وأقم الصلاة إن الصلاة تنهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون.